Alright, we're reviewing these two cards today, just because it's an old school thing with me. Maybe not everybody. Let's start off with wiretap. Basically, it's not as good as some of the other cards out there, but everybody loves it for some strange reason. It is, when a trap card is activated, you can send this card, you can basically send the card back to the deck with this, and they can use it later. Why is that bad? Well, it's a trap card. Most people are going to use it for cards like Mirror Force and everything else. And the problem with that is I don't necessarily want them having a Mirror Force later on. Like I said, I'm an old school player, so to me, giving them another trap to use later on is not that helpful to me, but everybody loves it. I mean, quite literally, everybody's looking for it, everybody wants to use it, and it's not quite something I would use. I'm building decks right now, and that's why I'm reviewing this, is everybody's telling me to put these two cards in. Well, like I said, it's like, hey, I activate this card, I give you your Mirror Force back to use later on. I'd rather use cards like Dark Bribe, give them the advantage right away, than turn around and have to give them Mirror Force later on, or something that will hurt me later on. But, yet again, that's some of the differences. Cards back in that day, back in my day, were just used to turn around and play differently. We had different stuff back then that were better off. Today's formats, it moves so fast, I guess this just isn't a problem. You hurt your opponent is the big argument everybody tells me. But my problem is, I'm still giving them an advantage later on. Sometimes the later game advantage is a whole lot worse to give them than a current advantage. Then we have Soul Charge. Where to begin? Sorry, camera's having issues. Basically, I don't know if I can get it focused well enough. You pay 1,000 life points for every monster you bring back. You cannot attack that turn. You can still do damage otherwise. You cannot attack that turn. I think a lot of people misread that part because that's how I think they think this is so good. See, target any number of monsters. Yeah, it's not going to say focus long enough. But it's basically pay 1,000 points, bring out any monster you can. It's good for XYZing, maybe good for an emergency situation, but it is not good otherwise to me. Yes, you can get out your bigger, better XYZs quicker, but they can't really do much that turn. So unless you're going to use all their effects like you can to damage everything, you're setting yourself up just for a big fall. Plus, it's 1,000 life points per monster. So say you pick 5, which is the maximum amount of zones you have. Oh, I bring out 5 monsters. Well, bottomless. You know, there's too many ways to counter this card for me to consider it to be as good as everybody does. I'm very sure it has decks that abuse it. Like, I know there's Bujins that abuse it. There's Madoches that abuse it. And definitely the Mermels right now are abusing it. But to me, it's like, okay, well, most of the decks I run, I can work around this. I'm just trying to figure out how it got so overhyped. Like I said, I think it's one of those cards that people are using because they don't know the full effect. They just read part of it and say, hey, this is a great card, and don't go, hey, this is a great card, but it has a drawback. Same with wiretap. It only works on traps. I'd much rather use Dark Bribe that deals with the full situation of spells and traps than use wiretap and just have to deal with traps. No offense, they Dark Hole. I want my Dark Bribe. And that's pretty much all I can tell you right now. These two cards, everybody has overhyped. Again, it might be because I'm more old school. I would never use these in a deck back in the day, but just everybody right now is all overhyped going, Soul Charge, wiretap, Soul Charge, wiretap. It's like, to me, there's no point in them. And yes, current formats, they might do some good. These are what's known to me as win condition cards. If you know you have the win, use them. But if you don't have the win, you just basically set yourself up to take a lot of damage for very little gain if they have the right combination. And you just basically gave them a Mirror Force or a Torrential to use 5 or 6 turns from now. If even that. If they've got the right luck, you just basically let them reset their torrential to get you later. So, to me, like I said, these aren't very good cards. They're too situational. They require you to have the perfect win condition going. Anyway, that's probably the way the game is going. Like I said, just take it from an old school duelist. Back in the day, we would not use either of these because they're too much of a risk. Alright, I guess a 5-minute review is the best I can do right now. We'll try to get some more stuff done later with the team channel. Just realize money situations are tight. And yeah, that's what's causing a lot of this. We'll try to get some duels on later. The big camera went out, so we'll have to use camera phones, everything else. So, yeah, pretty much my reviews on this. Useful in some decks, not every deck. Win condition. I really don't want to take the risk of running this at all, just because I don't want to give them the advantage later on.